Jane Withers, American child star of the 30s. She was more mischievous and not as pretty as Shirley Temple, but she was still a very important part of the Hollywood of the 30s and the 40s. She was in films like The Farmer Takes a Wife, The Mad Martindales, North Star, Faces in a Fog. She was in films as recent as Giant back in the late 50s, The Right Approach in 1962, and Captain Newman. But she was particularly well known for a couple of roles she played opposite Shirley Temple. Whilst Shirley was demure and cute and a little singer and dancer and everybody's sweetheart, Jane Withers, she played the heavy. She was the nasty kid. She was the kid who was jealous of Shirley Temple. And for that era of filmmaking, she was a delightful actress. And I'm pleased to say that she's just been named by a group called the Maskers Club, which is a theatrical group. She's just been named by them as Mother of the Year. And with Mother's Day coming up on Sunday, I know this would be a big thrill for Jane. I've spoken to her before. I find her absolutely delightful. She is a lady with a huge cross to bear. She's the mother of 5 children. They'd have to be, I think, nearly all grown up by now. But she has a mother who's been critically ill for a number of years, and she has been magnificent in the manner by which she's stood by her mum. She's had that cross to bear. I think she lost her husband, I'm not too sure, second or third husband, in the late 60s, was it? And I know she was very deeply in love with him, and I think it may have been at least her second marriage. Perhaps we'll get the chance of asking her when she comes on the line. But nothing has deterred her right throughout her life. She is still one of the most popular people among theatricals and movie people in America, and we're just waiting for her to come on the line so we can congratulate her on being named as Mother of the Year. And I'm pleased to say that Jane Withers is waiting for us now. Hello, Jane.
Hello, Bert. How nice to talk to you again. And hello, everybody in Australia.
Congratulations on being named Mother of the Year.
Wasn't that super? I was thrilled to death, except that, as I told them when I accepted the award, I don't think there's any one Mummy of the Year. To me, every mother, especially working parents that are trying so hard to contribute to the world and give their children what they truly believe in, I just accepted it on behalf of all mothers all over the world.
Jane,
but I was thrilled with the honor that they asked me to do it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of mothers, the important thing is, I'm wondering how your mother is.
Oh, bless your heart for asking. You know, she's had a very serious illness for 5 years, and she's been in and out of intensive care since Good Friday, over a month now. But I'm very grateful to say she's still hanging in there with us, and of course, with God's help, I know we'll pull her through this obstacle too.
That's great.
She's been through so much the last 5 years, but it's very kind of you to ask. And I think a lot of you before, when I asked to pray for her, I'm sure have been, because she's much better than she was the last time.
Jane, in age, how do your children range?
Well, you know, I just had my 54th birthday, April the 12th, and my oldest daughter, Wendy, is 31, and she has a little girl, Ashley, a year and a half old. And then I have a son, 28, who is studying to be a minister, and he has 3 children. He made me a grandmother 3 times. I have a grandson, William Paul Moss IV, and he will be 4 years old this September. And then I have a grandson, John Emery. He's almost 2, and little Amy Kristen is not quite a year old. And then number 2 son, Randy Walter Randall, is 26 years old. Then I have a son who will be 23.
Hello.
And my Kendall Janie Rare just turned 20 the 3rd.
Jane, your time now, of course, a lot of it would be spent in visiting and looking after your mother, but you always seem to have so much time for other people in trouble. Who comes to you?
That's what I'm dedicated to.
Yeah.
I love the elderly, I love children, and I love animals. And, of course, that's what I dedicate all my time to. I have 10 dogs and 2 cats, and I work for the Humane Society and all the different animal regulation departments all over California, in fact, all over the world. And I'm very, very, very involved with various organizations for the elderly, and very concerned about the elderly, especially here in the United States.
Well, when you've hit your lows in your life, have you ever had any trouble in having people come to you to look after you?
No, I've always had to take care of myself. But I think that's one of the lovely things about show business. It teaches you responsibility and honesty. Many things that one learns as young as I learned at a very early age, of course, that possibly one wouldn't have a chance to do, because not many people start working at the age of 2.5 years old, as you know. But it does teach you many things and how to take care of yourself. But I've always loved it, and God willing, I'm going back to work this year. I've already done a Love Boat that was on the first week of the new year, and I just finished a marvelous children's story. I only do family theaters, you know, Bert. That's very important to me. And I finished a marvelous show called Zack and the Magic Factory. That's for television here for ABC, and that'll be on this fall. And I have 7 scripts upstairs now that they know that I'll go back to work again. And, of course, I said, don't send them unless it's for family entertainment. But that's what I love doing, and I want very much to go back to work again. I've missed it.
Jane, do you see Shirley Temple at all?
Oh, sure. Whenever time allows, they always call me to sit on the dais for Shirley when they're honoring her for something else. And the last time was at the Massacres Club. The same organization that honored me as Mother of the Year honored Shirley last year. And I don't know, I guess they expect me to get up and say some tacky thing about it. Of course, all I can say is thank the dear Lord for the most talented and beautiful little girl in the world, Shirley Temple, because I might have ended up selling hats here in Los Angeles if it hadn't been that they needed an opposite of Shirley Temple when I appeared with her in Bright Eyes. And, of course, because of that, I've had such an interesting life for which I've been extremely grateful.
But, Jane, there's something very special about your talent, too. And, you know, in this day and age when child actors receive so much more help, I would suggest, than perhaps in your day, I mean, you had to rely terribly on your natural talent, didn't you?
Oh, totally. I mean, really totally. And they would just sort of turn me loose, and, of course, I'd always know my lines when I got there, mine and everybody else's. And I had a very definite concept of the way I wanted to do the role, and if it was a little girl that I wasn't accustomed to her accent or her ways of life, I did a lot of research and studying and found out about her.
When you were a little girl working in movies, who were some of the big stars that you liked particularly, the grown-up stars?
Oh, I love them all because I'm the biggest movie fan in the world, but I absolutely adore, and still do, Katharine Hepburn, and I love Spencer Tracy and Eleanor Powell and Fred Astaire and Cary Grant and Ginger Rogers, and, oh, golly, I could go on and on. But those were some of my very special favorites. And, of course, I'm mad about Jimmy Stewart. My dream has always been to work with Jimmy Stewart. I worked with Henry Fonda in his first film, Farmer Takes a Wife, and we're still very close friends. And Jimmy Stewart, we attend the same church in California at the Beverly Hills Presbyterian Church.
Jane, any of your children going to follow in your footsteps?
Well, my oldest daughter, Wendy, was very talented in singing and dancing, but then when she decided to give all that up when she got married, to settle down and become a housewife and a mother, but she does have her own interior design business, but she's very talented in that area. And my number 3 son, Kenneth Edward Herrera II, he is following his father's footsteps in the music business, not as a singer. Of course, his father was one of the original 4 Freshmen singing group. And but Kenneth is in the music business, but he's producing young, soft rock groups, I would call it, that haven't had their big chance yet. And then my youngest daughter, Kendall, who's 20, is with Western Costumes. She's studying to be a costume designer. She's one of the youngest costumers in the industry. And, of course, she's had tremendous training and background because of my various costumes and my wonderful costume collection of authentic clothes and costumes from films that she has helped me inventory and has grown up with. That gave her initial interest. And then, of course, working with marvelous people like Edith Head and Helen Rose and Bob Mackie and Walter Plunkett that have been friends of mine all my life gave her an insight and an understanding to clothes and costumes that I think a lot of children wouldn't have had that privilege at such an early age. But she's very successful in the costume design business and really loves it very much.
How many times have you been married, Jane?
I was married twice, and of course I've been a widow for 14 years. Mm-hmm. My first marriage, unfortunately, was not as happy as I had prayed for, but we're very good friends. I was married to William Moss in 1947, and we were divorced in 1954. And then in 1955, the end of 1955, after I finished the film Giant, I married Kenneth Edward Herrera, and we had 13 and a half absolutely marvelous years together. Everything that I hoped and prayed for and really believed that marriage could be and should be, it was. And then Kenneth was killed in a private plane crash with his 2 business partners in 1968. So then I assumed I had to take over all of his business responsibilities as well as my own. So I run 3 companies and I'm on 9 board of directors. So I'm a very busy lady.
And let me tell you, you're a very special lady. Everybody I've spoken to who's had the pleasure of meeting you comes back with nothing but nice things to say.
Very kind. I appreciate your interest so much. I really do. I mean it with all my heart. I think it's so dear of you to care and to take the time to call. It really means a lot to me.
Thank you, Jane. I look forward to our next chat together.
Thank you, and God bless all of you, and to all the mummies out there, have a perfectly beautiful Mummy's Day. You deserve it. Thank you, Bert.
Bye, Jane. Bye-bye. In Hollywood, we spoke then to the incomparable Jane Withers.
Everything I do for Bert. Everything I do for Bert. Some may think Bert's not much, but they like his gentle touch. So everything I do, just between me